Hi guys, Dave here for the Gastronomic Gardener. I'm going to do a harvest and I think it's going to be epic. We're going to start with these eggplants and there's a lot. So that's the globe eggplant. I use these for pasta alla norma, baba ganoush, eggplant parm. I think I'll be giving some away. Now I'm going to move on to the Asian style ones. These ones are Ichiban. And I like these for stir fries and quick sautés. Look at that damn thing. They don't even fit in the bowl. And the last one of the Ichiban. Another good haul. And to finish off the eggplant harvest, I've got some little kind of novelty ones here. They're called fairy tale. They're really great braised with some soy and some ponzu and a little bit of fish sauce. Delicious. Kind of cool how they grow in little clusters. So here's the fairy tale. I'm going to move on to the cherry tomatoes now. There's a few to pick. You got to pick them every couple days. So the squirrels don't find them, the chipmunks don't find them. And you can pick these before they're entirely solidly ripe. So the thing with tomatoes, and I don't know if you can see me over here, the thing with tomatoes is once you have color all the way through from top to bottom, you can pick it even if it's not fully ripe. They will continue to ripen on the counter or on a sunny windowsill or in a paper bag. It's the ethylene that causes them to ripen, and once it is moved all the way through the fruit, you can pull them. You don't have to eat them right away. Of course, if you cook them the way I cooked the tomato confit in a cooking video I just did, you're going to see it doesn't really matter because cooking them at relatively low temperature with a lot of olive oil and a lot of garlic, they'll be plenty sweet enough. Doing this also, pulling them when they've turned, also helps keep them from splitting, and not just, probably more so for the bigger tomatoes, which I'll get to in a minute here. I keep dropping them on the ground or knocking them on the ground. As I said, when they're ripe, if you touch them, they just about jump off the vine. We're not going to get a ton today, but a nice amount. I probably have half a gallon in the house. Not bad. Moving on to the slicers, I've got some Lemon Boy and some Wisconsin 55. Yep, Wisconsin 55. Slicing them, tomatoes, salad, caprese salad, sandwiches. These are some of my favorites. I like the yellow ones. They seem to be lower acid and really sweet. So as I was saying, this one already has its golden color from top to bottom. I can harvest this, and this will harvest in the house in a bag. I'm sorry, it'll ripen in a bag. There's a nice cluster that probably went a little too long, but that's okay. So you can get splitting on these if the water supply is a little bit uneven. Taking these in now will keep that from getting worse. Got to go to the other side. Now let's look at some of these Wisconsin 55s. Frankly, they don't look great. The plant doesn't look great. I'm not sure if it's worth it, but we'll cut them and at least get them off the vine so that it's not trying to put any more energy into these little things. And some of them are just probably only good for scrapping. Don't put bad tomatoes in your compost pile unless you want a ton of tomatoes. I don't know what's going on with these. I don't know if it's a blight or if it's just a fungus. Not everything goes according to plan. Looking closer at this. Looking closer at this, I'd say this is fungal. And so we'll get this foliage off site so it doesn't re-infect next year. And that's it for the slicers. And we're gonna finish up this tomato harvest with the plum tomatoes, which we use for sauce and salsa. Same thing, if they've got color all the way through them, I'm gonna take them. These are a great example. These will continue to ripen. Now these plants don't look great. They had a fungal issue and they got some leaf curl and they do need cleaning up. I have treated them with copper. Part of the issue that I have is that that we get so much rain, and it says treat every 7 days and then again after rain. And so it's been raining every 3 or 4 days here. Plenty of water for the garden, but hard to stay on top of the fungal issues. If you look over there, the apple trees, the bottom portion of the tree is defoliated. That's fungal. It's a big problem right now in this area because the high humidity, high heat, and a ton of rain. That's why it's called gardening, not growing. What's quite nice is once I figured out to add calcium to the soil in these grow boxes, I don't have the problem with blossom end rot that I used to have, and it makes me happy because I hate throwing away vegetables. Okay, plum tomatoes. Not the bright red we associate. That'll happen in the house. Let's keep this harvest moving along with some bell peppers. I have some that are green and some that are red. I'm gonna leave some of the red ones. I'm hoping that they ripen or start to ripen, and I can do the same technique that I'm doing on the tomatoes. But for now, let's pull some of these big green ones and get them off the vine before they pull it over off the plant. That's damn near perfect. What'll be interesting about these, another nice one. What's interesting about these, holy cow, would you look at this one. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting myself, but the wonders never cease. Look at that. That's a green pepper. Peppers will go along doing their thing, and then when you get near autumn, I don't know if it's the short days that trigger it and they want to reproduce, you'll get a huge flush of peppers at the end. I'm gonna pull one more off of here, try to convince it to put some production into fruit up top. Give me a second, we'll come around this way and we'll take a look at some other peppers we've got. Okay, now that we got done with the giant green peppers, these are some of the smaller ones. These are Shishitos. I don't know if you've had them. I've been growing them for some years. I first had them at a restaurant where they just put them on the grill, gave them a little char, and then sprinkled them with a little bit of salt. They were delicious, but I was like, that's crazy to spend that much money on a little pepper. So I've been growing them ever since, and they're usually pretty prolific, but let's get picking. If you're going to put these on the grill, I suggest poking a hole in them so that as they get hot and steam, they don't explode. You can also do them in a in a heavy pan on the stove, or I imagine they'd be delicious on a campfire with that smokiness. That'd be good too. So I did have some of these last night, and people ask, well, aren't they hot? In general, no. The rule of thumb was every fifth one or so you get might be a little bit warm. Up to this year, that hasn't been the case. But all the ones I ate yesterday, I had about 6 or 7, they all had a little glow. Nothing that you can't handle, but definitely not just mild sweet. So I don't know if this is a different cultivar, if the grower grew out a spicy plant, I suppose. I got a weird seed packet, but anyway. And these can hide in here. And the more you pick, the more the plant will produce. So these can be really prolific. In previous years, I was pulling 30 or 40. I'd have like 3 plants, and I'd pull 30 or 40 peppers a couple times a week. So that's the Shishitos. I didn't get a ton. That's fine. I have a bunch in the house. Now I'm going to go and harvest some of these banana peppers, which are sweet and are also delicious grilled. Now I thought at first these might be Hungarian wax, but they're not. These are sweet. And you can cut them up into rings. We can do a quick pickle on them. Maybe I'll do that. Would you guys like to see that as a video? Do a quick pickle of these Hungarian wax peppers? That might be interesting. Let me know in the comments. And if you're having fun picking with me, heck, hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll make sure that my content and the stuff I'm doing, these videos, other people get to see them too. Because that's how the system works. The more you like, the more people get to see it. So, gotta like that. All right, a couple of those peppers, and now I'm gonna go over here. There's a pepper, it looks like a jalapeno, and if you want to look macho, you can bite into one of these in front of your friends and be like, yeah, these don't bother me at all. And they're like, dude, you be crazy. So let's start picking these. They look like jalapenos. They sort of taste like jalapenos, but they're not hot. They're called Tricked You. Let's get going. Now that fungal problem that some of these peppers had on the lower leaves seems to have mostly resolved itself. And there's still some, but it's not like it was. And I attribute that to some days where it actually did kind of dry up a little bit, or certainly enough that the plant was able to overcome its issues. Wow, this thing is loaded. We're gonna have some nice mild poppers in our future. That's a big one. And like most fruit, the more you pick, the more the plant will try to reproduce. So we should get more. I don't need to pick every one, just the biggest ones. Let these other guys grow. Okay, just a couple more. Ooh, giant. Look at that one. There we are with the Tricked You peppers. There's not much left to do, but at least one more. And I saved it for last because it's going to be the dirtiest. Now I've admittedly let these go too long, these beets, and I left them to last for harvest today because they're the dirtiest. You're not just picking them off the plant, you gotta dig them out. But I think they'll make for some good eating. Let's see. That's a nice one. These are not as overgrown as I thought they would be. I see some roasted beets in my future. Little one. Oh, didn't see this one back here. So not bad. Yeah, I think that's it for the harvest. Let's see what the grand haul is. Not a bad day's harvest, huh?